I mean, he knew more than like 99% of people that come on my stream. Mark, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. I do appreciate you for the love, Mark. Everybody, please do show some love to Mark down below in the chat. Yeah, I could appreciate that. That is fun. Someone in the chat just said that's fun because it is. Having like a conversation with somebody that like I still think is annoying as fuck, right? But yeah, it knows their shit a little bit. Knows their shit more than like 99.9% of people that come up on my live. I like that. I do. I do. Based. All right. But yeah, thank you, Mark. All right, we're gonna move on to our next guest. So there's Cordello's. I saw like 4 people in the chat saying let Cordello up. Um, I would love to know who that is so I could let them up. We're gonna get our next guest up in here right now. Colton, thank you for the $4 on PayPal. If you would like to support me, my Venmo as well as my PayPal are in my bio. I get 100% of those proceeds. They go directly to me. And I will thank you. And I will thank you. Who's Cordelia? Why do people want her up? Hi. Why? Do you know
Hello.
any of? Do you know any of the people that want you up? Did you vote for
No,
Trump?
I am I did not vote for Trump. I am Canadian poli-sci student. And during all
How
the
do
talk about Canada,
how do people
with
know this?
I was saying it in the chat.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate you for coming up,
Yeah.
Cordelia, and I would love to hear your take. You should join my Discord. I do hold like an absolute rule for the debates that you gotta vote for Trump. And the only reason it really applied to you right there is because, because I kick other people and I don't want to make them feel bad because I didn't kick you, if that makes any sense. Lindsay, thank you for the motorcycle. I do really appreciate you for the love, Lindsay. Everybody, please do show some love to Lindsay. But if you want to join the Discord and, say it in there, I'd even read it off on the stream. The join code's Justine. What's up, Justin Me? Did you vote for Trump?
Yeah,
You did. Now, why the hell did you do that?
because of foreign policy and immigration.
This foreign policy fucking sucks, dude.
Well, I just thought that what you said earlier about the Budapest Memorandum didn't make much sense. You left out what James Baker said to Gorbachev, and you kind of misled your audience as to the reality of the situation that Europeans and NATO faced with the Soviet Union and then the Russian Federation.
So what did I misconstrue about the Budapest Memorandum where we told them if they denuclearize, we'll protect them if they're invaded?
Because that's part of what was said there, but it also one of the agreements made as part of the OSCE agreements was that NATO would not expand 1 inch to the east. That was said 3 times by James Baker to the president of the Russian Federation. They broke that promise. So it seems like
Amanda, thank you
part.
for the $2 of the 22 cents on PayPal. That's not why Russia invaded Ukraine, if you're curious.
No, it's not why Russia invaded Ukraine, but you're saying the reason we're defending them is because we agreed to do it, but we also agreed not to expand NATO. So we went back on that promise, but we continue to have the other
I have a
promise.
question.
And
So you said that
Mhm.
there is spoken word of mouth. Was that a contractual agreement like the Budapest Memorandum?
It was something that the representative of the State Department said to the president of the Russian Federation during negotiations. So I think that is valid. Is it written down? I don't believe it is, but James Baker never denied saying it. In fact, when he was asked, he said, "Yeah, I did say that to them." So they broke that promise willfully. So, and also, if you want
Ah,
to talk about
well,
our
I
wait, no,
mean,
if you want to talk about why we
I
have to defend
just
Ukraine, why didn't we
just
defend in
because NATO
2014?
broke one promise doesn't mean that we should break another. Plus, I just don't like Russian expansion, and I think that supporting a fight against Russian expansion, supporting a fight against colonialization of Ukrainian territory and land from Russia is a great thing. Dwight, thank you for
But
the
that
two
seems
dollars
to
on
be a
PayPal.
different argument than the one that we're contractually obligated to defend them because we didn't do that in 2014.
Are you talking about the annexation of Crimea?
Yeah, and then the upsurgence of rebels in Donetsk and Luhansk. We sent weapons, but we didn't help nearly in the capacity that we are now. We
Oh,
never talked
okay.
about retaking
So they
Crimea, but
sent
now we're
they
talking
sent
about it. Why
weapons.
didn't we then? And now why are we now?
Yeah, probably just like a different level of importance.
And see how that doesn't really make sense. If the standard is we
I mean, it
agreed to
does.
defend
Like,
you,
one's the
but no,
annexation of
because
Crimea, and one is like the colonialization of foreign territory insofar as the entirety of the country of Ukraine, resulting in the deaths of Ukrainian citizens, the deaths of Ukrainian children, and a full-scale war that's been raging on now for 3 years. Do you think that Russia has a right to invade Ukraine?
they don't have a right to invade Ukraine. Of course not. No
Do you
country
think
has a
it's
right to invade
bad?
any country.
Do you think it's bad that Russia invaded Ukraine?
Yes.
Okay. So, do you support the U.S. sending them $30 billion per year on average to fight against Russia?
No.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you think that the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was good
I think parts of it were good, yeah.
overall?
Overall, it had minimal effect on the economy, but I don't think it was a bad tax policy.
Okay, it costs $1.7 trillion with an incredibly minimal effect on the economy. And only grew our
Mhm.
GDP by 0.02% a year, which resolved in $10 billion a year in government revenue, wasting
Yeah, but again, I don't see how
trillions of
this.
dollars. The way that this relates is that you're going to
Mhm.
sit here and you'll say that you don't really give a shit about Donald Trump wasting $1.6 trillion in funds that were never recouped and disproportionately spent on billionaires, right? But then you really care enough about $30 billion a year to support standing against the deaths of innocent children and men and women,
So
right?
to be
And
clear,
that'll push you far enough to vote for the adjudicated rapist that's also a 34 count felon that called for the religious persecution of all new Muslims that come into our country, that also sexualize little girls, boast about grabbing women by the P word, and boasted
okay.
about walking into the changing rooms of half naked teenage girls as well. It's like insane. Like $1.6 trillion on billionaires that amounted to nothing. I like it. $30
So
billion
what you're
a
saying,
year. Must vote for
can I,
the
can I
rapist.
clarify something? Are you saying the government revenue went down by 1.7 billion in tax income? Is that what you're saying? The United States government brought in 1.6 or 1.7 trillion dollars less in tax revenue because of that tax policy? Is that what you're saying? Or
No,
what
the
are you
tax
saying?
policy only caused an extra $10 billion to be generated in government revenue per year.
Okay, so what caused the 1.6 trillion dollar? I'm not sure if you're referring to a deficit or just a loss of revenue. Which of the two are you referring to?
So bill costs $1.7 trillion. Bill only costs $100 billion.
Are you talking about federal spending? What exactly? We were talking about foreign policy. Now you're talking about someone, sexually assaulting people. I'm not sure exactly why you went
The
down the path
relation
of
is
it.
that we lost $1.6 trillion, right?
My opposition,
But then when we like quote unquote lose $30 billion a year on like supporting innocent people from like not getting slaughtered, you're like, that means you got to vote for the rapists.
no, because it seems to be that you're making the argument that I'm against the $30 billion in aid to Ukraine because of the $30 billion in tax expenditure that it costs the American taxpayer. Well, that's a minimum reason.
So why are you against supporting Ukraine?
I'm against the United States getting involved in hot conflicts across the world. I don't think it's prudent for the United States to give Ukraine long-range weapon systems to use against Russia. And that just poked the bear, so to speak. That is very imprudent foreign policy. And it's also making Russia and China become closer together because there's so many sanctions on energy products coming out of Russia that they're sold to other countries like India and China, who are obviously not listening to our sanctions. So there's geopolitical
Wow.
realities here that you have to listen to, not just a $30 billion number, obviously.
Well, the geopolitical reality is that, if anything, now is the best time to be instantiating that red line as suggested via the Budapest Memorandum. What is happening to the ruble as we speak?
The price of the ruble collapsed when the war first began, but from what I've last seen, it seemed pretty stable.
In the last 3 weeks, it's collapsed even further.
Oh, was
In
it bigger
fact,
than
there
the
hasn't
use of
been.
the medium-range intercontinental missile, or what?
What's that? Well, no. What my claim would be is that like Russia is on the verge of being toast.
Okay, you
At some
could.
point we need one moment. Let me speak. At some point we need to acknowledge reality. The ruble is finally collapsing more than it ever has at any point in the war. We need to acknowledge reality. Russia has lost on their offense. Ukraine will get the land back, as well as they've already started to push into Russia themselves, taking the offense. Russia is losing 110%. Right? And if you think that Russia purports any genuine threat to the United States of America when they can't even adequately defend against a country as small as Ukraine, that's crazy. And you're talking about isolation, aka a higher level of commutable relationships, economically speaking, between countries such as Russia and countries such as China due to the sanctions that we've placed on them that China and India won't respect. Sure, right? That is a reality. But what's happened with China's GDP the last 4 years? It's actually dropped by like $100 billion. Like, these countries don't purport a threat to us. They genuinely don't. I think that the fear mongering of the right is at this point absurd, and I find no issue with standing behind the red line we set against Russia in the 90s with the rest of NATO to make sure that we can reduce the probabilistic based chance of them proposing a greater issue in the future.
And earlier you said that we didn't take the stand in 2014 because it wasn't the moment to take the stand. So we're only supposed to stand behind that line when it's opportunistic, or when are we supposed to stand behind that line?
We should have taken the stance in 2014.
And why didn't Obama take that stand?
Dude, I have no fucking clue.
So do you
But that doesn't mean that we should be taking it now.
So do you think the reality of it happening now has to do with the change in how the State Department views the affair, or does it have to do with, hey, we can make a lot of money giving them military equipment that then we have to repurchase from American arm manufacturers, which are lobbying Congress to push these sort of bills forward, to give more aid to Israel and Ukraine, to spend more money on missiles, for us to then buy them again from the very people that are lobbying Congress to pass these bills? Do you not see that as an issue?
The military-industrial war complex is an issue, but that doesn't mean that it's bad to support like humanitarian crimes.
So you think that the primary motivator for the United States helping in these instances is democracy and compassion, and not the military-industrial complex?
So I just want to make sure that your argument is clear. You are now not refuting the position that it's a good thing to support Ukraine because of the repercussions that will have geopolitically.
No, that's part of it.
One moment, with adversaries offered by countries such as Russia and China, but you are rather now instantiating the position that it is rather a bad thing to be supporting Ukraine because of the negative quality and intentions as presented from our government.
And no, that's not true at all. That's part of it. The other part is we are antagonizing Russia. You can say that Russia is not a geopolitical adversary of the United States, and you can say China is not a geopolitical adversary of the United States. That is obviously not clear based on the reality we're living. Obviously. Do you not think Russia is a geopolitical adversary of the United States and China is not a geopolitical adversary of the United States? Do you not believe that?
Once again, now you are already misconstruing what I said. Obviously, Russia, China, North Korea, India are geopolitical adversaries of the country. Anybody that doesn't stand with the UN, anybody that doesn't stand with NATO is a geopolitical adversary of the United States of America. But
so Australia is? Australia's not in NATO?
Are they a sufficiently like stands with BRICS, stands against like Western values, like speaks like badly upon the U.S. government, etc.? Those are going to be geopolitical adversaries. But are they a sufficiently like president geopolitical adversary to justify revoking allocation of funding, support, and weapons for Ukraine? Absolutely not, because they don't purport any genuine threat in the sense of a larger scale war that would directly involve the loss of life of American soldiers, or like a nuclear war, World War III.
And I would agree with you if I thought it's possible that Ukraine can win this war. Ukraine cannot win the war. I think that's where you and I have a fundamental disagreement. They obviously cannot win this war. You understand that, right? Or do you?
I'd say that obviously Russia can't win the war. Look at the ruble. Look at the production of the military equipment in their own country. Look at the slimming growth of their own GDP and even some quarterly recessions, even though their industrial war complex is booming. Like, you're going to sit here and say that the country that is a crumbling dollar, has a crumbling GDP, with a crumbling economy, with citizens that hate them, that can't make the weapons to support their ongoing effort, with a Russian Navy bowing out, retreating, with Ukraine gaining land on Russia, is the one that's going to win?
Okay, yes.
These conversations are just so tough, man.
They're not so tough. If you want to talk about the land Ukraine has taken from Russia, please put that side by side on a map. They took 30 square miles. Russia has taken 20% of Ukraine. If you want to talk about the industrial,
when did they take 20% of Ukraine?
Over the span of 3 years. And okay, when was the last time Ukraine gained land in Russia? It hasn't been since August that they haven't gained no land. In fact, they're actually coming out, and you can read this in the Washington Post, they're coming out saying that they are not meeting recruitment numbers. They're falling 2/3 short of the number they need. In fact, the United States is pressuring them to lower the recruitment age from 25 to 18. Does that sound like a side that's winning or not? I mean, Russia has more nuclear weapons, or about the same as we do. They have more tanks than we do. They have more artillery shells than we do. They have more missiles and stockpiles than we do. Do you really think that Russia's just, their money's out? Yeah, they have nukes. They have a huge military, and it's super disingenuous to say that, yeah, just because a few pounds were taken by a few, elite forces by Ukraine, oh yeah, the war's absolutely over.
I mean, we just have to say one sentence to show how absurd what you're saying is, and how
We'll
it is
say
nothing
it.
more than Republican fear mongering. They have more hypersonic missiles in the U.S. They have more nukes in the U.S. They have millions of Russian citizens that are redempted, ready to be deployed, but yet they've only been able to manage 18% of a country smaller than Germany.
Well, yeah, because you have to see that they foresee. Well, do you know how the war transpired? We've had a conversation before.
And then you want to use that to equate some genuine threat of to our own country.
Oh yeah, because
And
Ukraine.
like it's just insane. And then you think on top of that all, you genuinely believe the guy that can't even hold his own country together is going to somehow manage those foreign relations better.
Who do
like-
you mean,
like-
Zelensky, the one who's banning
No.
political parties, or you mean Putin, the one who won re-election?
Oh no, I mean Donald Trump, the person that tried to stage a coup to overthrow his own government and rig
Was
the
he
outcome of the
charged
election in
with? Was
2020.
he charged with trying to overthrow the election? Did he?
Even
did he go
better,
to
he
court for
admitted
that?
to it. Yeah, he did, and he admitted to
He
it.
said I would try. But why could he run? Someone who's engaged in insurrection can't run. Why was he allowed to
No,
run?
because
if he
he's able
engaged
to
in
make an adequate
insurrection?
legal defense to get the charges dropped that he should be.
Oh, so the
immune from
charges were
proceedings.
dropped, so he's not guilty of an insurrection.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter because he admitted to it. He admitted to it before the charges were dropped. He admitted to sending fake slates of electorates to 7 different key swing states in our own country to sign and send false certificates of ascertainment into our own country and to try to pressure Mike Pence into certifying them as real to literally install himself for a second presidential term. I understand that you want to take the legal approach on this and rhetoric your way out of Donald Trump trying to coup the country and rig the outcome of the 2020 election,
Well, you always
which
do
would
the
be
same
sufficient
thing the
because
other way.
the January 6 indictments in Congress, both of them, as well as the litigation with the Supreme Court, were all postponed and dropped by Jack Smith and were all like rescinded and not ruled on by the Supreme Court. That's a rhetorically advantageous stance for the position that he didn't legitimately try to stage a coup to overthrow the country. But the reason that you ultimately lose on this position is before these charges were postponed or dropped or pushed off or not rescinded upon by the Supreme Court, Donald Trump literally admitted to it. And he is seeking immunity. Same thing with John Eastman. Same thing with Rudy Giuliani, his two personal lawyers that lost their law licenses for helping him with his attempted coup. Donald Trump admitted to trying to overthrow an election.
And this affects the war in Ukraine and Russia. How? Again, we were having a conversation about foreign policy, and you seem to want to go back to your talking points that you can regurgitate quite quickly about Jack Smith and all the cases. So again, how
Oh
does that
my
relate
God.
to Ukraine and Russia?
Dude, okay. So yeah, I specifically told you, it's funny that you think on top of everything that I used to absolutely dismantle your own position, I said on top, then you
Well,
think
you
that
think
this
Russia's
maniac
losing.
that can't even control his own country is going to be able to control that better than Kamala Harris, right? But seemingly every single time I bring up Donald Trump or and any of the negative qualities I would play into his character, his policy approach, not just domestically but foreignly speaking, you don't want to talk about it.
Okay,
you
we
always
can
wanna-
talk
you
about
always
it if
want
you
you
want.
always want to return it and rhetoric it into seemingly making me look like I'm running away from a conversation. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to bring up valid concerns within the characters, aptitudes, abilities, and actions of your man.
Okay, well, let's address those concerns that you have. The policy that the president has announced and that the Congress, through Mike Johnson, has announced is they're not going to give any more aid to Ukraine. So if you think Ukraine's
No,
going to win
I
this
wanted
war,
to talk about Donald Trump's attempted coup of the country in 2020. You seem to have like some background knowledge of it. That's what I want to talk about. Am I not allowed to suggest a topic?
no, you are. But when I came on, you said why I voted for Donald Trump, and I was talking
And
about
we've been
Ukraine and
talking
Russia.
about it for 35 minutes, and I engaged
Okay,
with
sure,
it, and I
sure.
beat you on the conversation.
Well, sure, you can say you beat me. If you think Ukraine's going to win this war, we'll see. But yeah,
I mean, if you think
idea.
that Russia serves as a legitimate adversary to the country, to our country, even though they're only able to overtake 18% of a country smaller than Germany, and now have
I was talking about their own
a
conflict.
destroyed GDP as well as a destroyed ruble, and then you want to like try to gaslight them to be an unprecedented threat that we need to bow the knee to, remove the lead Rhine, and further isolate ourselves from the leaders in the EU and in the UN and other democratic leaders in in Europe, all to like bow the knee to Putin. Like that's absolutely fucking insane. No wonder Putin invaded in the 2016, 2020, and 24 election to help get Trump elected. Right?
Okay,
No
what
fucking
about
wonder because he will.
okay,
bow the knee.
what about when
But
the
go ahead and
US
tell me how you
commits-
feel about Donald Trump trying to literally overthrow the country and stage a coup to rig the outcome of an election in 2020.
He tried to send the electors back to the state legislature, which he believed was within his right. And if you look at what happened after January 6th and the modifications that were done to the procedural process of January 6th, they changed the law to make sure it was very clearly written that the vice president cannot reject the electors and send them back to the states for reapproval. That was something that was quite vaguely written, which is why it was changed. So if Donald Trump believed that there was interference in that election, and part of it is obviously true with, intelligence agents writing about the laptop with Hunter Biden being fake, even though it was obviously true. You had intelligence officers lying to the American public, and then Twitter used those lies to censor people, censor the New York Post. So if he had valid concerns about how, the integrity of the election was taken about, he was within his right, as he understood, to do that. So I don't know what your big concern is.
So you think that Donald Trump was within his right to attempt to influence the Electoral College, attempt to influence the governor's office of 7 states, attempt to influence his own VP into throwing Biden out and accepting.
That's not what it would have
Trump.
done. That's not what it would have done.
One moment.
You're lying.
No, I'm not lying.
It would have sent the electors back to the state legislature for them to carry out investigations to the claims that were being made. But those claims were never investigated.
No.
Yes,
Mike Pence would have Mike Pence would have either certified the false certificates of ascertainment as sent by his slates of fake electorates, or it would have been pushed back to the House. It would have not have been sent back to the governor's office to investigate them because they were already investigated by the time the fake certificates of ascertainment hit the hands of Mike Pence on Congress on January 6th. What the fuck do you mean that these false certificates of ascertainment would have been investigated by the governor's office? All you have to do is look up all you have to do is look up National Archives, false certificates of ascertainment, and you will be presented with a list of government emails from the governor's office of all 7 of these states where they're like, oh yeah, these votes are fake, right? Yeah, it was investigated before they even hit Congress on January 6th. So tell me, do you affirm that Donald Trump sent 7 slates of fake electorates to 7 key swing states to cast false certificates of ascertainment into Congress on January 6th, with 5 of those 7 false certificates of ascertainment having no recognizable distinction between the real ones?
If you're saying it's on the National Archives, I'm not going to argue with the National Archives. But again, it doesn't take away from the point that,
I'm just asking you if you affirm this. I'm not done. Do you affirm that this is something Trump did?
Yes.
Okay. So you have affirmed, right, that Donald Trump sent fake Trump votes into Congress from states that he lost saying that he won. Do you affirm that Donald Trump wanted to pressure Mike Pence into either certifying the fake Trump votes as real or feigning ignorance, pushing it back to a vote by the House?
It would have been more prudent to send it back to the House.
So do you?
They should have done that. Yeah. You know why?
Oh my God! You think that the election in 2020 should have been voted on by the House?
No, I just think that the way that the media interfered in the election was not fair. And it was not a fair election.
So you just think that Donald Trump was justified in trying to steal the election. God, yeah. Look at that. No wonder he was arguing pro-Russia. He literally just said that the voice and the vote of every American citizen that voted in 2020 should have been thrown out of the window and then voted on by the representatives in the House. Like, what an insane take. Unreal. Yeah, this is the Republican Party. Yeah, based Republican, pro-Russia, pro-Putin. Fuck the 2020 election. No proven widespread voter fraud. Let's just go ahead and let Trump install himself for second term. Just to let you know, this is fascism. Someone in the chat said that I kicked him because I was losing. He admitted that Trump should have stolen the election in 2020. There's no worse concession to make. How could you possibly say that I lost? He said I got him to say that Trump should have stole the election. No shit, I didn't lose. Manu, thank you so much for the $10 on Venmo. I do appreciate you for the love. Thank you so much, Manu. You are absolutely phenomenal, and I do appreciate you so much for your support. What a crazy take. What a crazy take. Dean lost because he got Republican to say that not only did Trump try to steal the election, but that Trump should have tried to steal the election. Jesus Christ, ladies and gentlemen. But everybody, please do show some love to Manu down below in the comment section, literally right now. I do really appreciate you for the $10 donation on Venmo. You're so incredibly kind. Make sure to show some love to Manu down below. And if you do want to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal are in my bio, listed as VNP, as well as they're in the link tree for a direct link. I get 100% of the proceeds over those platforms. They go directly to me, and I get a notification at the top of my phone screen where you could attach your name, a message, as well as the amount. And I'll happily read it off. Hello, CR. Did you vote for Trump?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, I did.
How old are you?
I am 28.
So why
My
did you vote for
birthday's
Trump?
well, I do come from a very Republican background, but I actually didn't like Trump, but I voted for him because being a woman, I just didn't think that the alternative had enough. You talk a lot about women's rights. That
Oh, yeah.
Kamala
Chantel,
was,
thank you for the $4.44 on PayPal. Show some love to Chantel. Go ahead.
she was only offering, like, her whole thing was about, abortion rights, right?
Uh,
And I didn't like my rights only being like there's only one option for me. And so, I mean, yes, you can
what?
say Trump in his personal life has talked badly about women, but he put abortion to the states. Like, I wanted more from Kamala being a woman myself, like, and I just didn't think her only like option was
So,
okay, you can have
so
abortion.
what did Trump do for women?
No, I'm not saying that he did. I'm saying you asked me why I voted for Trump, and I'm saying that more
So
like
I
the
just want to understand
alternative.
your position.
Mhm.
So you're a woman and you really care about women's rights, and you were upset that Kamala Harris was not doing enough for women's rights, even though what she was doing would have prevented 22,000 rape victims from being denied access to health care a year and would have ensured that all women and girls in our country have federal protections for the right to choose. She wasn't doing enough for women's rights, so you voted for Trump. So what was Trump doing that was more for women's rights?
I think so. It's more about for me. It's about
You
options.
voted
So
against women's rights.
so when you're saying that she was doing a lot for women, yes, abortion is definitely an option. But you talk about a lot of people that are assaulted, right? And it's awful.
Mhm.
It's terrible. I feel like yes, abortion it should be an option for people, but like the conversation only stops there. Where I have heard Trump talk about, look, there is a lot of mental health problems. There's people abusing drugs, and I do think drugs and stuff. That's a lot of what has to do with people that are getting assaulted. And I just didn't hear like her take on yes, abortion is a great option, but like somebody that is suffering from assault, whether they have an abortion or not, they're going to go through trauma the rest of their life, right? It's not just limited to, oh, once I have my right to get an abortion, I'm just going
So,
to be free of
in
trauma.
one or two sentences, Kamala Harris would have prevented 22 rape victims from being denied access to abortion every single day. What will Donald Trump do that is more important than that?
You want me to
Be
answer what's
specific.
more? What will Donald Trump do
Yeah,
that's more important, specific to women?
sure. I mean, or just in general, I don't think anything's more important than that.
Well, no, see, like, I can agree with you that I think the argument I'm trying to make, or my point is that, yes, she had an option, but I think both of you and I can agree that there needs to be more, right?
Duh. Dude, the
Yeah.
world wouldn't have been perfect if Kamala Harris was better. It was
No,
elected.
of course, right.
But
And
it,
I
but it
just,
would have been like astronomically better than if Trump was elected. So can you answer the question? Like we don't vote for perfection, we vote for
no,
progress.
of course, of course. And I'm just saying,
And I think that you have to make the argument that Donald Trump will usher more progress than Kamala Harris.
I think some of the reasons why assault happens is related to like what's the issue? Like why are people getting assaulted, right? You could even
Dude, this
say,
isn't an answer to my question. I'm trying to be really kind to you, and honestly, like I'm just a little bit like mentally tired because the last two guests I've had have been a bit.
mhm.
But I mean, I'll repeat the question, and I would really enjoy an answer. Um, if Kamala Harris was elected, 22 grave victims would not be denied access to abortion every year. Sorry, every day, not every year.
Right.
Every
Mhm.
day. So, what is Donald Trump going to do that is more important and more progressive for the rights of women or the country as a whole than that?
This is just my personal opinion. It's just me as a woman and like where I have my views. But I'm just saying, so I'll answer your question, but I'll talk a little bit. I don't necessarily, I can't say like you have facts of what she would do to save all those people. Like they have the right, right? So I can't specifically say this is a policy he has in place. This is what he'll do.
Joby, thank you for the $20 on Venmo. I can't even read your message out. You feel very negatively about the current guest on the live. But I do really appreciate you for the love, Joby. That is Joby. Everybody, please show some love to Joby down below in the comment section. I like wow. Joby has such negative like thoughts and feelings about the current guest on the live that like I can't even read that. Wow, I can't even read that one out, Joby. But hey, listen, I really appreciate you for the $20 donation. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
That I'm saying that because of his character.
You make no sense.
Sorry, what?
You make no goddamn sense. I'm waiting on an answer to my question. I feel like I'm being a little bit too nice because I'm legitimately so lightheaded after being mentally exhausted by the last two guests that I'm willing to be a little bit more easygoing on you. But I mean,
Right,
for
and
the
I
thousand people
appreciate
watching, has
that.
she
I
answered
know,
my
and
question?
I appreciate that, and I just wanted to share like my thoughts on this. I'm sorry, I'm not polished. You know, I don't do this every day.
I'm
I
gonna be
just
honest. I've collected zero thoughts from you. I think I can't. If you were to put a gun in my head and be like, "What is one thought that the current guest shared?" I'd be empty-handed.
And I mean, I'm sorry for that. I just wanted to share, like, I am more of an advocate for women that need more than just abortion. That's just what I wanted to share with you. And
Okay, yeah, I am too. Yeah, women don't just need federal protections for access to
exactly.
abortion.
Well,
Women,
I was
women
just
also.
talking because you're an
One moment,
advocate. You are an advocate
one
for
moment.
women's rights, right?
Emery, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Will you allow me to finish?
Yeah, of course.
But Emery, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. I do appreciate you for the love. I'm not just an advocate for women to get the right to get an abortion. I'm an advocate to stop systemic misogyny. I'm an advocate to stop traditionalism. I'm an
You as a-
advocate for
yes.
for education. Right, for young men to not think they're superior or better at leading or more
Right.
competent or more able than women. I'm an advocate to reduce the impact of harmful stigmatizations of women in STEM-related fields, women in positions of leadership. I'm an advocate to stop like medical misogyny, right? So women aren't like treated with higher levels of malpractice compared with men. I'm an advocate for a reduction in the rate of violent crime, so men stop like raping, abusing, and kidnapping women. I'm an advocate for all these things, right? But I don't understand how like that somehow leads you to the conclusion that voting for the rapists, right? Like voting for the guy that has now caused 22 rape victims a day to be denied access to abortion, voting for the guy that said that pregnancy is the best thing that could ever happen to a woman and a woman's only in her job because of how pretty she is, right? Is like a better choice than voting for Kamala Harris, who would have codified those protections to ensure all rape victims have access to abortion and that 1 out of every 3 women in our country isn't being denied that access. It doesn't make any sense. Dana, thank you for the $10 on PayPal. I do appreciate you for the love. Massive W's for Dana down below. That is DNA. And then, like, additionally, like you're just saying, oh, just abortion isn't enough, and that's somehow supposed to make Kamala Harris look bad. Like, what
No,
the
it's
fuck?
not. No, it's not.
Not at all. And how does this get you to vote for Trump? Can you clear that up? How does this get you to vote for Trump?
Yeah,
Like, what?
I'm sorry if I'm not being so. I'm rambling, but I just want to. Okay, so we both believe that women's right, right?
You don't
Advocate
believe
for
in women's rights. No, you're not an advocate for women. No, get out of here with that bullshit. I'm going to be so fucking real. You voted for rape culture over ensuring abortion access and protections to rape victims. You're not an advocate for women's rights.
So, okay, so that's just your belief that I'm not. Then
No,
can we
it is. It is
both?
my
Can we
belief.
just?
I believe-
Okay, can we just?
I believe it's a very sound an evidential, it's a very sound belief. It's a very
Okay,
sound,
I just
objective belief. Yeah.
okay, but can we agree though that it because I've listened to you a lot and you advocate for women, okay? I know you're making the claim that I don't, but
Yeah.
can we both agree that when women are sexually assaulted, that whether they have access to abortion, whether it's denied, what you know what I mean, whether regardless of our beliefs, that they're going to have trauma the rest of their lives,
Yep.
and that they need more than just abortion, right?
Yep. Abortion's a good start, though. Ashley, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. I do appreciate you for the love, Ashley. Based. Thank you for the love. So, anyways, what were you saying?
I was just saying that as a woman, that's just one of the reasons why I voted for Trump, not solely.
Lindsay, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. Well, okay, that's where I lose you. Okay, Lindsay. Sorry, not Lindsay, but Lindsay, thank you for the $5 donation. And then that's where the hell I lose you. That's
Okay,
where
sorry.
the hell I lose you. I have no clue. I have no clue how you're making that connection. You're like, great victims need more than just access to abortion, so I voted for Trump. Let me ask you a
No,
question.
that's just-
What
that's
is
just
Trump
one of
going to
them.
do for great victims?
What is he going to do for rape victims?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, he's gonna deny and defame them. In fact, he was civilly adjudicated of not just defaming any grape victim, but defaming his grape victim. That's what he's gonna do for grape victims.
Do you not believe that when he led it back in the States for the state to decide that, it's not like he's going, oh, I don't want anyone to ever get an abortion, right? Do you not take that as a positive thing whatsoever, that the states get to say what they want to do?
Oh, no, bad thing. Zoe, thank you for the $1 on Venmo. And Janice, thank you for the $30 on Venmo, saying thank you for adding your voice. I do appreciate you for the love, Janice. That is Janice. Everybody, please, let's get at least 300 W's for Janice down below in the comment section right now. I really appreciate you for the love. That is so incredibly kind of you, Janice. W's. So let me ask you this question. Why should access to abortion be left up to the states instead of the federal government? And Sierra, thank you for the $25 donation on Venmo. And J-Paw with the $10 donation on Venmo. Holy crap, you guys. You guys are going absolutely crazy on the donations right now. Everybody, please show some love to Sierra and J-Paw. Thank you guys so much. It means the world. I really appreciate you guys for the donations. It means a lot. Thank you so much. And Thomas, thank you for the $5 donation on Venmo. W's for Thomas, W's for Sierra, and W's for J-Paw. But yeah, tell me why it should be left up to the states. What's your argument? What's your reason?
Okay, sorry. I'm nervous, so I'm not.
It's okay. I'm nervous too.
I am pro-life, so I don't know. I'm not trying to convince anyone here. I'm just saying this is just what my thought is and my reason. The prompt is, why Trump will be terrible for America. So I was just giving you my personal reasons why. So.
I laugh. I laugh every time. You don't think rape victims should be able to get an abortion, huh?
What?
You think that rape victims should not have legal access to abortion?
Did I say that?
Oh no, I'm asking you a question.
No,
So you do think they should have legal access to abortion?
Are you talking about legally or just my moral? You know what I mean?
Do you
'Cause
think that a rape victim should have legal access to abortion?
I personally don't, because I'm pro-life. You know what I mean? It would be like it's asking me, do you think a child that's innocent that had nothing to do with it should be murdered?
Yeah, this
But
is
that's just what-
this is an advocate for women's rights. Damn, man, I wish I wasn't so tired, man. I just like to expect it at this point, bro. I just can't even believe it. We'll get into that in like 3 seconds. I gotta thank a couple donors here. J-Pot, thank you for the $10 once again for dealing with the stupidity in my boxes. Yeah, please don't leave. I really want to talk to you further. Thank you. Thank you so much, J-Paw. And Sierra says, surfing cunt, love you, bestie. I love you too, Sierra. Thomas with a $5. I appreciate you so much for the love. And Christina with a $2 saying, Republicans hear the word federal protection and immediately think it's a government overreaching. Yeah, actually, federal protections limit government overreach. Let's see. Brennan, thank you for the $5 on Venmo saying Trump's last reps also ending equity and equality for women and minorities, though. Yeah, no, don't worry, though. She's an advocate for women's rights. Lonnie, thank you for the $10 on PayPal for having to listen to the bullshit and uneducated people. Lonnie, it means the world. I appreciate you for the love. Everybody show some love to Lonnie, please. And if you want to support me, my Venmo, my PayPal are in the V and the P in my bio. So let's have a conversation about it. I bet I could convince you that great victims should be able to get access to abortion. Are you ready?
Well, sorry, so real quick, can I just address the women's rights thing?
Do you want to?
Well, I don't like being just labeled, oh, she's, against women's rights. The reason why I didn't vote for Kamala is because it's a limited of women's rights. Like, is there a policy or anything where Trump actually was going to limit women's rights? Like, if there is, just tell me. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't come in societalization. It doesn't come in policy this term, right? He did that last term when he overturned Roe v. Wade. That was a policy. But this is all about societalization this term. Okay, right? Yeah. Because what happens when you put a president, when you put a misogynist rapist in the presidency? What happens? All of a sudden, all the other misogynists, all the other rapists are taught that that is societally acceptable, and we don't hold social consequences to these behaviors and attitudes. And if anything, we reward them. So that emboldens misogynists and further enables them to feel more comfortable with being more misogynistic because they will literally expect a reward rather than a consequence. And we're already seeing it. Go compare the comment section, my comment sections, compared to the comment section of a woman liberal creator.
Well, even this comment section for me, you know what I mean? I mean, a lot of your viewers are calling me stupid and dumb as a woman. And it's just kind of like the irony.
You're stupid and dumb, not because you're a woman, but because of what you believe in.
Right, but I am a woman. Like, you can't deny that.
You are a woman, and you are stupid and dumb, but you're not stupid and dumb because you're a woman. You know? Makes sense to me. Listen. But you could become intelligent. You right now, today, that's the
best thing I've ever heard. Thank you.
Right now, you could go from being stupid and dumb to being ultra-based giga-trad. Okay? And I'll tell you how. The first step is just going to be recognizing that you could be pro-life and like still think that at least grave victims deserve access to abortion. Like seriously, this is just the bare minimum, and I don't mind explaining it to you. So like when we're looking at like a great victim that's getting an abortion, and you're like considering why it's wrong from the pro-life perspective, like you're generally just thinking that it's wrong because like the baby dies, right?
Right. Well, I think everything that's happened is wrong. It's not fair to the mom. It's not fair, the guy who did it. Like, it's also not fair to the baby. That's, you know what I mean? I'm not just limiting.
Dude, did you just say it's not fair to the rapist?
No. I'm saying it's not fair to the mom. It's not fair to the
How
baby.
is it not fair to the mom? No, it's not fair to the mom to restrict her access to abortion. She's literally forcefully, violently having this conception occur inside of her uterus without her consent because a man decided to violate her, right? And you're saying it's not fair for her to be able to remove that from her? It's more than fair.
No, I'm saying
here's the relation.
Because she has no obligation.
She has no obligation to provide for the needs of the dependent fetus growing in her uterus. Like, let me ask you this question, right? So let's just say you barely get by. You make enough money to just buy enough food for you to survive, okay? All right, and every day I break into your house and I steal half of your food, right? And I leave you with a bare minimums, and you're going to be struggling for the next 9 months while I'm stealing your food. And you could stop me from stealing your food by locking your door when you go to sleep. But in doing so, I die because I no longer have access to food and I'm going to starve on the streets. Would you be doing anything wrong if you were to lock your door to prevent me from stealing your food?
I would say no.
Exactly. The relation here is that the great victim
Mm-hmm.
and her bodily resources are the food,
Mm-hmm.
and the fetus is stealing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's providing no consent for that fetus to take her bodily resources to survive. And in that hypothetical, when we lock the door, killing the person that stealed the food,
Mm-hmm.
right, because they no longer have the means to survive, all that we're doing is removing the fetus from the mother's uterus, quote unquote, locking that door, and no longer has any means to get the resources to survive, and it dies. Right? It is completely analogous. It is just an exemplary function of either bodily autonomy or property rights. You are well within your right to lock that door to keep the person out that's stealing your food, even if they die. And a great victim is well within their right to evict the fetus from her uterus, even if they die.
I get what you mean by the scenario, but if we're taking that as if the reason why you would die, the sole reason you would die is because I'm locking your door. I'm locking my door.
Mm-hmm.
But like if that was a real life, I know it's an analogy, but if it's a real life situation, someone who's stealing food would then just go to a different house. It wouldn't be like me literally being responsible for killing you if you kept stealing my food. You would have another option.
You could make any mental contortion in your brain. The point of the hypothetical is that that person would have no other option, right, than stealing your food for 9 months, right? And you would still be doing nothing wrong if you didn't let them steal it.
Well, because you know my faith, the wrong I would be doing would be essentially letting you starve to death. If you had no other source, you know, you're saying that it's okay for me to do
I
that.
got a couple people to thank for the donos. Sydney, thank you for the $10 donation on Venmo. Sydney said, "Thanks for trying to wake these folks up." Thank you so much, Sydney. I do really appreciate you. Thank you so much, Sydney. And then Samantha with a $20 donation on Venmo. Thank you so much, Samantha. Dude, W's for Samantha down below. Samantha says she can be pro-life for herself, but she cannot force her beliefs on every woman in the country. That's what she has done. Keep cooking, Dean. Yeah, I think, Samantha, we're actually going to get into that explanation right after I finish reading out these donations. But thank you for the $20 donation, Samantha. You guys are being so kind today. Ashley with a $25 donation on Venmo. Ashley says she can have her beliefs and raise her family one way, but voting for control over women across the nation based on personal morals is wild. This hurts listening to. Thank you for supporting women's rights. We appreciate you. It seems like there's a very shared sentiment there. And okay, we're going to go ahead and touch on that point right now. But W's for Ashley in the comment section. Thomas, thank you for the $5 in Venmo. Saying you're a boss, dude. The variabilities between your guests is wild. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you, Thomas, for the donation. I love you. You're great. Katie with a $10 donation on Venmo, saying for the headache that arguing with Republicans is. An abortion saved my life at 10 after I was raped. Katie, wow. You know, I just, if you ever come to a time where you want to publicly share your story, I'd love to have you up, but I understand if that's something you want to keep personal and private. I'm so sorry that happened to you. That's insane. And Blair, thank you for the $15 donation on Venmo, saying, so sorry you have to deal with these people and it means the world that you're trying to educate them with their small MAGA brains. I appreciate you for the $15 donation, Blair. Gerard with the $25 donation on Venmo. Everybody show some love to Gerard, saying that made me laugh. You're amazing, brother. Keep it up. Gerard, you're based. You've been watching forever. I love you here. Trisha, thank you for the $15 donation on Venmo, saying, thank you for supporting women, Dean. You make me hopeful for younger generations of men. I appreciate that, Trisha. I love hearing that sentiment. And, you know, I guess the point is I just wish that there's more people that thought like me, you know, especially in my younger generation of white straight guys. You know, it's just so important. And right now the right is just totally dominating that culture war. And I appreciate you so much, Trisha. Let's see here. Miranda, thank you so much for the $5 on PayPal. I appreciate that. And Melissa, thank you for the $10 on Venmo. Melissa says, please tell the guests I need her kidney now. You know what? Fuck it, Melissa. We're going to use that. So I have a question. So there's actually a woman named Melissa, and she has a very unique blood type that only one other human alive has. All right? Mm-hmm. And it just so happens to be you. And if you don't give Melissa your kidney, Melissa's going to die. If you chose to not give Melissa your kidney and she died, would you be a murderer?
Would I be a murderer?
Would you be a murderer, or would you be doing anything wrong?
I don't think I'd be a murderer, but I would feel personally convicted by that, right? If I was the only person and I just decided not to because of whatever reason.
Yeah, sure. You could have your personal convictions, but do you think that the law should be able to force you to give your kidney to Melissa?
No.
Dude, Melissa, I'm going to refund you your $10 because you just gave me the fucking analogy that broke through. Melissa, I'm going to refund your $10, okay? Because this was all you. This was all you. So what you just said, right, is that if there was another autonomous individual who was reliant upon you to survive, right, and they needed your kidney to live, and you chose not to provide them to you, that you shouldn't be legally obligated to, right? And think about the legal obligation for you to give Melissa your kidney, right? The same way as a great victim's legal obligation to sustain the life of the fetus growing in their womb in states without access to abortion, right? All that allowing for great victims to have access to abortion in states is saying is that they are under no legal obligation to provide for the means of that fetus, and they can personally choose if they want to evict it from their womb and stop supplying it the metaphorical kidney or their bodily resources. And I'm sure plenty of them will have their personal convictions and whatnot, but we are just making sure that they are under no legal obligation. You understand why, how you could be pro-life while also believing that great victims shouldn't be under a legal obligation to sustain their pregnancy and should have, right, the free will to choose if they want to access abortion?
Right. I think it's complicated for me personally, but yeah, people can do what they want. That's why I thought if they gave it back to the states.
No, we should have.
decide.
Or wait, do you think that, like, let's just say, like, remember the kidney example? Let's say you lived in California, and California decided that you should be under a legal obligation to give Melissa your kidney. Do you think that the government, the federal government, should intervene and tell California that they can't force you to give someone else your kidney?
I see what you're saying. That
You agree that, like, the federal government should be like, all right, California, you're doing something that's a little too crazy. You shouldn't be able to force you to give Melissa her fucking kidney. Would you say that if the federal government did that, that they would be doing a good thing? If they stepped in and they intervened and they stopped California from legally forcing you, that the federal government would be doing something good? You would, okay? So in other words, all that you're saying here, as related to the conversation about great victims of abortion, is that the federal government would be doing something good if they pass legislation to make it federally legal in all 50 states for great victims to access abortion. All of a sudden, you hold an entirely pro-choice view specifically about great victims.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. And I really do appreciate you talking to me about this and being kind and respectful. I definitely do mumble a lot, but it is good to hear other insight.
I mean, how do you feel about the insight? Do you agree with it? And do you disagree with it? And if you do disagree with it, why do you disagree with it? Because, like, hopefully I just want to work you into a position where, like, you either disagree with it with no reason just because you're having internal conflicts with your biases, right? Or that you agree with me.
I personally don't agree with abortion, but I think we have a disagreement on, you are obviously pro-choice and I'm pro-life, and the
Well,
reasons
specifically
why.
about the great victims here. Will you admit that you just disagree with me because of conflicts with your internal biases? Or do you actually have a reason to, like, dispute, right, the analogy that we just made together?
What is your definition of my internal biases?
No, I mean, you've just been pro-life for so long. You've thought that great victims shouldn't have access to abortion for so long. You can't just flip the switch in 5 seconds because I was able to demonstrate to you that it'd be illogical for you to think that great victims shouldn't have access. Like that's all that I'm saying. Like, I remember when someone like gave me a really convincing argument that like God probably didn't exist. Like I had admitted, agreed, and conceded that it was logically consistent. But yet I was willing to reject the belief because I had been Catholic for so long.
Right. Okay. So you come from a Catholic background. Gotcha.
Do you think that like people shouldn't be able to get abortions because God like gave a value? Are you a Christian?
Yes, I missed what you said right before that.
Okay, you do. No worries. I want to talk about that. Alexis, thank you for the $1.50 on Venmo. And Joe with the $5. Fuck you, Joe. You know how you are. Matthew with the $10 on Venmo saying, you got me into politics and advocating for women's rights, and I started a TikTok for it, and I'm planning to go live soon to debate. Thank you. You're best. You're the best, Matthew. W's for Matthew, and I mean it. Harvest with a $1. I appreciate you. And Day with a $10 on Venmo saying, thanks for educating. Grape is one of the huge reasons why women need abortions, and we also can't forget medically as some women get issues during pregnancy, and that's when they want a child. W. Dean, for real. I guess like I always try to talk people that don't think rape victims should be able to access abortions off the ledge. Like that's always like the most impertinent and important thing to me, I guess. But yeah. Do you really want me to give you an argument for why, in accordance with the Christian faith, you should be pro-choice, or should I just move on to my next guess?
You know what? You've had a long day. You can move on and I'll listen, but I would love to hear sometime more. And I know you talked about your article, just kind of about your background. I am very interested in hearing that. So, But yeah, I don't need to be on for you to talk about that. So you can go ahead.
Awesome. Well, I do appreciate you. All right, you guys. Let's see. We are at 4:40 p.m. We have been live for 4 hours and 15 minutes. We are probably going to be ending live like right now, I guess. No more debates for the day. We're done. But one thing I will say before I do hop off is maybe we will spend like about 10 minutes here, 10, 15 minutes here doing a Q&A. So what I'll do is I'll take questions from the chat, but you know, there's like 8,000 people in here, so the chats move pretty dang quick. Where's Mads B? Oh yeah, I could explain that. And I could explain. And sorry. Anyways, well, what I was gonna say is I could like get questions from the chat. It's just moving pretty damn quick because there's 8,000 people in here. So like, if you have a question that you want me to answer, my Venmo's in my bio. It's like the VMP. It's also in the link tree in my bio. Ask a question on there and I'll answer it. Definitely. And that's where I'll predominantly be looking for questions, but I'm also going to just pick a couple out from the chat. Spotify Wrapped. I went over it all yesterday on a live on my second account. It was a lot of fun and people enjoyed the music taste. Wait, actually, fuck. I'll just show you guys. And I want to do this before a shit ton of people leave because I just want to see y'all's reaction. So here's my top artists. So the number one is fucking hilarious. Tyler Childers. Listen, I have to be honest. I love Tyler Childers. And that is country music, MAGA country, like that is Republican, but I love Tyler Childers' music. I do. And I will own it. I love Tyler Childers' music. I love almost every single song he has ever released. And that's why he's my number one. Second one, Backseat Lovers. Okay. Been to 3 of their concerts. They're actually my favorite band of all time. They've been either my second top artist or my first top artist for 4 years in a row. Me and the Backseat Lovers have a very deep connection. Third, Lumineers, same shit with them. I've been listening to them since literally fucking middle school. If I had to choose, like 2 bands that I could ever see perform live through all of history, it'd be Queen at Live Aid and then a Lumineers concert in like 2015, 2016. All right, number 4 here, the G59, Let's Be Real. Okay. Don't even need to explain that one. SB on top, let's get it. Then of course the 5th down there is Tyler, the Creator. I've been doing listening parties to his albums since like Igor. So yeah. So there's the top 5. I'd say that the country, the Tyler Childers is definitely like a pretty like wild throw in there, but I love it. I really do. Let's see here. Caitlin with the $5 on Venmo saying no, Tyler Childers is a liberal. Yo, let's go. Hello. Tyler Childers is libbed out. Let's fucking go. Oh, wow. I never looked into it because I fully expected him to be MAGA. Yo, let's go, dude. Yeah, dude, based. Hella based. Let's fucking go. Audrey with the 50 cents. If I like backseat lovers, I should try Pine Grove. Bet. Anna with a $15 on Venmo. I appreciate you for the love, Anna. Everybody, please do show some love to Anna. Anna says, can you explain the abortion argument about God and free will? What regular schmurder is blocking that free will? What about regular schmurder? Yeah, so Anna, what you're referring to is basically the idea that there's no defense for infringing upon the free will of humans with the use of a criminal justice system, given like a Catholic worldview, and how I'd use this argument to typically relate to how like Jesus wouldn't infringe upon the ability of a woman from accessing abortion, so neither should you, aka you should be pro-choice if you're a Christian. And you're asking me for the difference between that and like regular everyday murder, like pew 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 pew, like grandma. There's no difference. So this is just a critique of the Christian worldview because you can't justify the criminal justice system disguised as a critique of the pro-life worldview. But it works either way. Asia, thank you for the $1 saying, do I like Haley? Of course I do. Sierra with a $15 on Venmo. Base, W. Sierra, I appreciate you for the love. Saying that I'm interested in your views about Christianity. I heard you talk a little bit about it on live, but I'd like to know more. So I'm an atheist. I think that it is impossible for the Christian religion to be true. And I believe that full-heartedly. But I only really debate that against people that use it incorrectly. People that deploy their Christian beliefs to hurt and harm others, right? If you're a Christian, and you like want to make the world around us a better place, if you're a progressive Christian, if you're a liberal Christian, I love you. I mean, that's my grandparents and I love them to death, right? We could have a civil disagreement there. Joy with a 50 cents on Venmo saying, is this account or not? You keep skipping me. It sure is Joy. Joy with $1. Ask her what she thinks about drugs and mental illness and if they should have any impact on whether or not victims have access to abortion. Joy, I'm sorry. You're, that must have sent late. Let's see.
That's
here.
a black king right there.
Let's see.
That's
Matthew
a black king
Jr.
right
Thank you for
there.
the $1.
Give me that, give
Why
me
does a
that.
baby conceived by grape deserve less rights? Two wrong and one right. So Matthew, it's not that a baby conceived by grape deserves less rights. It's that a mother has no obligation to sustain the life of a baby conceived by grape. So like if we were just to say that all humans, including humans in the womb, have the right to life, we would still be granting babies as conceived by grape that same right to life, right? But still yet, a mother's doing nothing wrong by evicting it out of her womb, even if that results in the termination of its life, right? Reference back the hypothetical that I gave to that last guess, right? About, locking your door, keeping the person out that's stealing your food. You're not doing anything wrong, even if it kills them. Okay, well, that person that's stealing your food certainly has the right to life, and you're still not doing anything wrong. That's why you could be pro-life. You could believe that fetuses are morally valuable. You could say that they have the right to live just like you and me, while still believing that grape victims should be able to access abortion. Let's see here. Ashley with a $5 on Venmo saying MAGA lost their mind after finding out about Tyler Childers. Wow, how long ago was that? I would have loved to seen that. Allie, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo saying you would love the band The Moss. They're so Deancore. Listened to The Moss for years. I actually went to one of their concerts in Boulder, Colorado. Madison with the $2. Do I think that Trump will become a dictator? I'm genuinely scared and ready to leave America. Well, I think that he could stress test the bounds of our democracy come the next election. If it happened, I want to be surprised. That's what I'll say. Let's see here. Tyler, thank you for the $2 saying that your top artist was Tyler Childers too. Hella based. Kaylee with a $3 saying, have I ever listened to Gracie Abrams? I've not, but I am familiar with the name. Let's see. Katie with another $5 saying, thanks for the shout out earlier. I was raised Roman Catholic, so the abortion I had at 10 was a big issue. We could definitely talk about it another time. Katie, you should message me on Instagram. I'd love to connect. Matthew with another $5 saying, people were asking for my but I have my nick. Oh yeah, you're the guy that said that you're gonna start doing lives. Okay, the guy that said he was gonna start doing lives is at Mike Do Search. Check you out if you go live, man. All right, Dean, you forgot about me. Please explain how the church in America became pro-life after desegregation. Oh yeah, that's an interesting one. It is. So, the collections of Southern Baptists, who are the most evangelical group of Christians in our country, they actually had a consensus in the 70s, right, that women should be able to choose if they want an abortion or not. That was what the Southern Evangelicals Baptists thought. It is. It really is, right? And then all of a sudden, now we see that it's the exact opposite. Ad Parker, is he in the queue? And I actually couldn't explain to you why that happened. I feel like I could try to like bullshit and find a way to explain it. But like, I don't know. I don't know why it happened. I just know that it did. So, I'd have to learn a little bit more. Maybe next time I come on live, I could talk about that. Chloe with the $5 on Venmo saying, is there any positives we could look forward to in Trump's presidency? A lot of us feel hopeless in the press after the election. We could use a silver lining. TikTok may possibly not be banned because of him. I don't know how he would do it, but I just know that he says he's going to do it. So like there's a small percentile that he's not lying and might save TikTok. If you make over $500,000 a year, you'll pay less in taxes. But I doubt anybody who's hopeless will be making that much money, or else you want to be hopeless regardless of who's president. You're chilling. Is that crazy? Oh, no tax on tips. No tax on tips if you're a service worker and he ends up implementing that. No tax on tips. But as I've said on live, I don't believe he will. But you know, there's a small percentile that will happen. This might be like the only two silver linings I could think of. Allison, thank you for the $10 on Venmo. Saying that my grandma voted for Trump because she thinks he wants to help the citizens in the Israel-Gaza war. Oh, no! No, 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 no. Oh, no. No, he said that he doesn't want a ceasefire. He pressured Benjamin Netanyahu into not accepting and rejecting a ceasefire, right? And then like said that he wants to continue to fund Israel so they could destroy and reclaim Gaza and win the war. Nah. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. All right. Holly, thank you for the $5. By the way, I'm going to stop taking the questions now, then I'm going to get off because I do quite really have to use the restroom. Holly with the $5, not seriously a question, but I love that you listen to the Suicide Boys G59. Have you been to any grade A yet? I have. I've been to 2. Red Rocks, October 31st, last 2 years in a row. Maybe if you find yourselves at Red Rocks in Colorado this year for a grade A, I might be there too. Let's see. Zoe, thank you for the $5 on Venmo. You should read, next year. I mean, you should read The Kingdom, the Power and the Glory about Christian evangelicalism. I can't even say it right now. I'm sorry. In relation to politics and history. Sure, yeah. I like reading books about historicity of issues. Okay. All right, you guys. I love you all. I'm gonna go and hop off. I really have to use the restroom, so yeah, I'm gonna go do that now. For the 5.5 thousand people in here, hit your follow button. Hit the follow button on the way out. I do these lives every day. If this was your first live, come back. We have a lot of fun. I really enjoy what I do. It's the best job ever. You guys are fucking awesome. See you all tomorrow. I might even try to post a TikTok tonight. I've been lacking as of recently, so I'll try to do that. But yeah, I love you guys so much. See you tomorrow. Peace and love.